Have you ever wondered which graphite pencils you need to get for your own drawings? Is there a difference in different brands? Are some of them better, maybe have different characteristics? Or are they all the same, it's just the price tag? Well, today I'll be able to answer some of these questions for you, because I will be comparing Derwent graphite pencils against Faber-Castell graphite pencils. In other words, we will be comparing Britain with Germany. Hi, I'm Layla. Welcome to my studio. Now, before I start, I want to say thank you so much to Nick, who is one of my regular viewers who bought and posted this lovely set of Derwent graphite pencils. Now, to tell you the truth, you can find Derwent in New Zealand, but Faber-Castell is just so much more available. It's pretty much everywhere. So I tend to go for these just because it's around every corner. So this will be very interesting to see, as I'm so used to using Faber-Castells, whereas these ones are completely new to me. So to make this comparison more to the point, I will only be comparing the softness or the hardness of the pencils that I have in both sets. Let's start with HB. First, I'm going to go with a very soft hand without much pressure, and then pressing much harder. Now I'm going to use the same hardness but with Faber-Castell pencils. Light pressure first, and now harder pressure. Just from comparing them side by side like that, it almost feels like the Derwent pencil is a little bit harder, but at the same time it doesn't look like the darkness is really affected that much. You can still get pretty dark with this, just like you can with the Faber-Castell. Because I do not have a B pencil in Faber-Castell, I will skip that. So the next available pencil is 2B. That's another one that I have in both sets. So I'll just mark this was HB pencil, so this is Derwent. I'll just put D for that, and this is Faber-Castell, so FC. Okay, so 2B Derwent, first soft pressure and now hard pressure. Now Faber-Castell, soft pressure and hard pressure. I also get a very similar feel with this as well. Both of the pencils are quite smooth. They don't seem to have those, little rocks and things that tend to really ruin your art. But at the same time, it almost feels like Faber-Castell is just a little bit more buttery, but just a tiny little bit. Now, this is a 3B pencil, so soft hand here, and then full pressure. It's nice and dark. And now exactly the same with Faber-Castell. Soft and hard. So this is 3B. Next one is 5B. First going super soft, very light hand, and now going full pressure. And the same thing with Faber-Castell. Soft and hard. Funnily enough, I didn't really see that much difference in terms of butteriness in the 5B, so I guess as they go softer, Derwent becomes a little bit more buttery. 7B, soft hand, full pressure, and this is Faber-Castell 7B, light pressure, hard pressure. Unfortunately, I don't have a 9B in Faber-Castell and I don't have an 8B in Derwent, so I can't compare those ones. Another comparison that I want to do is to see how well we can erase them. I think it will actually be good to just focus on HB and 7B. So here we go. For HB, I'm going to just go as dark as I can, two different directions. And the same with Faber-Castell. And let's try 7B, pressing quite hard and doing 2 layers. Same with this one. If you are enjoying this video and if you would like to see more drawing tutorials, you can check out my Patreon page where I regularly post interesting videos, tutorials, behind the scenes videos, lots of explanations, and there are monthly giveaways and all sorts of other stuff. So please check it out. You might really enjoy it there. Now, if I'm just going to use a regular vinyl rubber, let's see how easily it will remove the graphite from the paper. So first Derwent HB, so I'll just do one line. And let's see how much is left. Now I'm going to use a clean side and do the same for Faber-Castell. Faber-Castell seems to be coming off cleaner. Now I'm just gonna clean off my eraser so that I get a nice sort of clean slate. And let's do the same thing for the 7B, Derwent and Faber-Castell, so that we don't confuse those. Derwent, Faber-Castell. This is very interesting. I'll just let you guys to be the judge of this. What do you guys think? Now, I want to do another test, which is also quite important for me, for example, because I do a lot of smudging when I create my drawings and things like that. So let's see how easy it is to smudge a Derwent versus Faber-Castell. So this is again a 7B. So I've cleaned my smudge stick so that I'm not bringing anything else from a previous drawing. Let's have a look. Now I'm not going to be cropping any of this out, so you can see how long it actually takes me to smudge this out completely. I think it's smudged now. And let's try a different side for the Faber-Castell pencil. Okay, are you seeing this, guys? So for 7B, Faber-Castell actually is darker than Derwent, even though in just the actual application on its own it seems the same. I just want to do another little experiment just because of what's happened there. I just want to completely go and create a really dark patch that is 100% covered in graphite. Just you normally wouldn't do this on a drawing like this, but I just want to give it another little try because I'm actually quite intrigued by this effect. And so the same, so this is Derwent, and then here is Faber-Castell, because I don't know, what if it's something that I've done? Maybe it's something that I don't know. So I'm just gonna do this because this is going to completely make them very even, and it will be a bit easier to judge. Okay, so now I'm going to use a clean side. So looking at this, it actually looks the same. So I wonder if maybe I've just applied more pressure on here and that's why it came out quite dark. Or is this one still a little bit darker? Well, what I will do, this is why I'm doing this with you guys, so you can actually have a look at it yourself as well and be your own judge. Now I want to try and see how much of the graphite I can pick up with a putty eraser. Those of you who watch my channel also know that this is quite a common tool that I use in my drawing. So I'll just carry on using this here. So I'm just going to do one little pressure spot, and then same on Faber-Castell. Very similar. Let's try with the softer blacker pencil. Oh, that's quite good. Look at that. And let's try Faber-Castell. Yeah, very similar. To be honest, I even think that it works The Derwent pencil actually works better with this eraser in terms of how much lift that you can get. Now let's try something else. I'm just going to put a little spot in the middle of each of these, so it's like a second little removal. Doesn't seem to do much. Let's see if it works on Faber-Castell. Yeah, I see it keeps lifting. Let's see here. So this is the 7B erasers, and this is the HB erasing process. Okay, one more test, and this is, to be honest, it's not really fair to do this test on any of the graphite pencils, but it's a smudge test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fingers on each one of these dark areas and then see which one would print on my skin more. So more like a smudge test, you know, when you handle finished drawings and so on. So let's have a look. Okay, so as you can see, this is a Faber-Castell pencil and this is the Derwent pencil. So there's definitely more of the imprint on the Derwent one. Now, another little thing I want to do after doing this, actually, how interesting, I can actually see my fingerprint on the Derwent pencil. Okay, so now to move on to the next part of the review, let's have a look at the pencils themselves. So we have seen what they work like. Now, when I look at both of the ends here on the pencils, they both have a really nice dome finish, which means that the wooden casing will stay together for longer, and it just signals that these are both good quality pencils. Now, if we look at the length, I would say that Derwent pencils are just a little bit longer. I do think that I have sharpened this one once maybe, but you know, they do seem to appear a little bit longer. I don't know if that matters to you guys that much, but you know, if you are really looking at you know, how much you get for your money, that could be the point. Now, comparing these two 7B pencils, I can actually tell you that the core, the graphite, and Derwent pencil is actually wider, so you get more of the usable material. Let's have a look if we can see that in other pencils as well. Let's see if HB seem to be the same. So whatever the thickness is in the Derwent pencil, it seems to be the same as the Faber-Castell. But yeah, you can still see the length difference. I haven't sharpened this pencil. This pencil is brand new, the HB. And so yeah, you can definitely see that there is a little bit, maybe one lot of sharpening longer for Derwent. Also, it's quite an interesting sort of thing. I don't know if that at all would impact your choice of pencil, but it seems that Faber-Castell pencils are just a little bit heavier. You see, even though this is a bit shorter, it's just a tiny little bit heavier than the Derwent one. I mean, I'm not sure if that sort of, because this is quite an old set, I'm not sure if the same thing would apply to these ones as well, but the cold fiber pencils, but definitely an interesting thing. I wonder why. Perhaps it's the wooden casing that is used that's different, or maybe the varnish. Okay, and now I'm just going to do a very quick sketch. Now I will make sure that I'm using the same hardness and softness of the pencils to just give them a fair comparison. So it's not going to be anything complicated. It's just going to be a little sort of a ball sitting on whatever surface that is. you can see that I have gone with two different pencils, so HB then 2B. So this is the Derwent pencils and this is the Faber-Castell, and you can already see, even though it's using the same softness on both of these, this is already much darker. Let's see how it carries on. So this is a 5B now. So this is already moving on to 5B, and now let's go on to the 7B. Okay, so far we have two. This one seems to be a little bit lighter than this one, even though I've been using all the same softness. Okay, so I'm gonna just apply a little bit more of the 7B. Okay, now normally if I need to go darker, I would usually go for 8B, 9B and so on, but because I'm trying to be very fair here and compare both of the darknesses, I've got 9B but in a completely different brand altogether. So so far the Faber-Castell one is definitely richer, and you know, there's more contrast that I can create with this rather than with Derwent. But another thing that I have noticed as well is that the Derwent one seems to keep its shape a little bit better. It's a bit more to the point. So if you love doing the cross-hatching technique, you might actually really enjoy using Derwent more. Let's have a look how it keeps going. Okay, just a little bit more of the darkness now. So in these areas I'm pretty much already banishing the tooth of the paper so that it's as, you know, as flat as it can get probably now. Okay, now it's time for a little bit of highlighting. So let's see how this works. Yeah, it's removing it. Okay, let's see what it's like on the Faber-Castell side. Yeah, it's very similar. Let's try a little bit of a sort of this really strong highlight with this eraser. You know, where I want to remove all of the pencil off the paper. Yeah, and both of these work really well. Okay, so now it's time to compare. So this is the Derwent. You can see the shininess. And let's see Faber-Castell. Okay, so what are my final sort of feelings about these pencils? Would I go out of my way and start looking for Derwent graphite pencils? Probably not, just because they are so close to the Faber-Castell pencils, and Faber-Castell is obviously much more available around where I am. Like, I can't even do a price comparison because I can't find you know, a store that would sell Derwent pencils one by one, for example, like they do with Faber-Castell here. And sets, of course, each set is different, so you can't really compare the prices on those. After completing these little sketches, I can tell you that Derwent is definitely lighter, so it's a little bit harder than Faber-Castell. And as you can see, when I tilt the camera a little bit off to the side, you can see that Faber-Castell is a little bit shinier, which means there's more graphite that has been deposited onto the paper, whereas with Derwent just a little bit less. Also, when I look from the side as well, I can see that there is a bit more of the indentation in the actual paper, because I had to press a little bit harder to just get a bit more of the payoff, whereas Faber-Castell, the grooves from the pencil lines are not as strong. So there you go. What can I say? They are so similar that whatever is more accessible for you or whatever is cheaper, just go for that. If you have both available, or like I do now, for example, if I decide that I want to create a drawing with a cross-hatching technique, then I think I will probably reach out for the Derwent pencils. Whereas if I want to do a lot of smudging and a lot of sort of working quite dark with the pencils, I will probably grab the Faber-Castell pencils. So that's how I feel about this. Now, if you have both and you have tried them, please remember to let me know. How do you guys feel about them? Do you notice the same differences that I have noticed here with my pencils? Either way, I just want to say a great thank you to Nick, who has posted these Derwent pencils for me to try and compare. And also I want to say a big thank you to my wonderful patrons who are supporting me. I hope you guys have a lovely day. I hope you create lots of drawings, and I hope I've answered some of your questions that you might have had previously. By the way, if you would like to know how pencils are made and important things to look for when you're choosing a pencil, I have a video on that as well, so you might enjoy watching the other one too.